Hi, this is TapCat, and if you're anything like me, then you may be amazed at the things that some people create in Planet Coaster. And maybe you're interested in building something of your own, but the process can be very intimidating, and it's hard to know where to even start. Well, stay with me for just 10 minutes, and I'll show you how to create a building that's uniquely yours that you'll be proud to have in your theme park. We'll start with one of the most basic things you can put in a park, a Chief Beef hamburger stand. Now, if we drop this into a theme park as is, it's just not going to look good or add to any of the themes you might be going for. So we're going to go to the building menu and skip right past the limited range of blueprints available. And while I've already picked out the pieces I'm going to use, you can pick a theme and try out any pieces you might think will work for that. It does take a certain amount of time, but you'll get a lot faster with practice. Now we'll start with the walls, and you can use filters to limit the selection of items you have to sift through, but I already know what I'm looking for, so we're going to look at the painted wood pieces. We're going to customize the color, and you can do that in a few ways. On this tab, we can choose from some preset options, or you can use this tool to get more creative, especially if you have something specific in mind. In this instance, I want to use a Caribbean blue because we're going for a tropical theme, and I'm going to enter that specific color code. Having done that, we'll fill in the rest of the walls, and we want to keep them the same color, so we'll just duplicate this one. For this wall, we're going to go ahead and tap the Z key to rotate it, and that'll help it drop right into place. With the first three sides done, we have to shift gears a bit and grab the Shopfront version of this wall. Once again, I'll use the Z key to rotate the piece so it's facing the right way, and we're good. I do recommend using this panel to help zoom in on the type of object you're looking for. Especially when you're starting out, it's really helpful to avoid being overwhelmed by the sheer number of items available. We're going to use this as our first layer of the roof just to give it a little bit more weight. And we'll also match the color to the rest so that it doesn't stand out too much. And since we just used this shade of blue, it's right here on the shortcut bar, and we don't have to enter that code again. Next up, we'll use a corrugated tin roof to top everything off and follow it up with some pieces to fill in those gaps. This gives us our basic structure, but man is it plain, and we don't want to leave it like this when we can spend just a little bit more time and really bring it to life. Let's start by picking a sign, and we want a nice simple wooden one. We're trying to go for a rustic island look for this build, and something like neon definitely won't help with that. Now let's center it as best we can and place it there. We can also dress it up with some decorations. In this case, let's grab a storm lantern and place it on the left. And then we're going to use a new tool. This command will both duplicate the lantern and offer what's called advanced move. Now this will let us simply slide it across to the right hand side, and this will keep them perfectly symmetrical without having to fuss over whether the second one is at the right height. Now you could of course adjust the other two axes if you wanted to, we just don't want to in this case. To help add more atmosphere and theming, let's put a sail canopy down as well. We'll do more with that area in just a minute, but first we want to place a window on the opposite side. This stucco window seems like a solid fit, so we'll center it and then adjust the colors. In this case, I've again written down the color codes I want, but you can easily use these sliders to come up with your own options. One thing that can help you make these choices is to use the store sign as a starting point for your color palette. I freelanced a little in the exact tone of blue, but I'm using a dark red and the yellow specifically because they're on the sign. It helps tie everything together, makes the color scheme more cohesive, and the signs were created by professional designers, so they're generally going to work reasonably well. The back is still pretty plain, and we're missing a door, so let's go ahead and take care of that. The doors often seem a little undersized compared to the wall height, so I generally lift them just a little bit off the ground. That's going to mean we need a threshold, and we're going to use a second copy of the same door for that purpose. And to do that, we're going to use the duplicate and advanced move function again. And this time we're going to use another facet of advanced move that's very helpful. Clicking this icon toggles between the mode we already used, where you slide it around, and one that allows you to rotate items. If you make sure that angle snap box is checked, then it will rotate in locked increments, and in this instance that means you can lay it perfectly flat very quickly and easily. And now we'll just slide it in and it looks exactly like it should. This place is definitely starting to look better, but we have a couple of more touches to add, so stay with me just a little longer. Since they're cooking hamburgers inside, we're going to add a chimney. And by the way, this demonstrates another aspect of building. Don't be afraid to use a piece that's too big, as long as you can hide the excess somewhere. We'll place this chimney so that just a little bit of it shows. Now, we are leaving the building tab, but as long as we're still editing the building, any scenery items we use will become a permanent part of the building. They'll move with it, be saved as part of its blueprint, etc. So we are going to put this smoker just out of sight inside the chimney. And now you can practically smell the ground beef cooking inside. Next, let's take a rope fence and place it against this side wall, and then duplicate it and move that across to the other side. And lastly, we'll put one in front. Because this building is so small, I could easily see them not having room for all of their supplies. So this canopy can serve as a small storage area. All we need are a few simple containers, and we've added a little more flavor to the picture. And lastly, I know I love for my buildings to also look good at night, and adding these strings of lanterns will help keep it from being too dark and simultaneously add a nice touch during the day. And that should do it. We can save this as a blueprint and bring it into any park that we build from now on. If you're wondering what it would look like inside a full park, I've got a whole area with similar buildings, and this is how it turned out. I did add some scenery around it. The jetty pieces act as a flooring platform, and you can add all kinds of goodies beyond that. But even if you placed it exactly as it was in our sandbox park, it would be a huge improvement over that basic shell that the game gives you. Once you've built your first shop, dive in and do another one with the same theme. The more you go through the items that might work for it, the more familiar they'll all become and the less time it will take to come up with new designs. Just make sure not to overuse any one element. Mix up the colors, the specific materials, all of it. You want them all to look like they belong together, but not like they were mass-produced in a factory. Alright, if you've made it this far, then hopefully you found this video helpful. If so, please give it a like so other people can find it too. And if you want to see more here on the channel, then by all means hit the subscribe button. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.